Mastodons are an ancient group of elephant which evolved in Africa but then would migrate throughout Africa and from Africa to other continents, including North America. Orange County, New York is one of the areas where the most mastodon fossils have been unearthed. The black dirt region in the south of the county, which was wetland formed by melting glaciers, has preserved a number of these mastodon fossils. In the summer of the year 2024, landowners discovered a mastodon tooth in their backyard, and they very kindly reached out to Orange County Community College and then later to state officials to properly unearth the mastodon remains which were in their backyard. And in the following summer, 2025, Orange County Community College offered a course to students to learn the procedures on archaeological digs and at the same time unearth these mastodons, which would then be preserved for further study. As the students learned firsthand, archaeological digs involve very specific methodical procedures, and one encounters plant roots which have corrupted the bones as they've grown into them, wet weather which continually floods the site, so that before a dig the water must be removed. As soil is very painstakingly removed, sometimes with trowels, sometimes with spoons, sometimes with chopsticks, it is then sifted and then any solid remains taken back to the lab to identify as rocks or fragments of bone. The fossil dig site must be precisely mapped so that each bone's location in the ground is known before it is extracted, so that workers in the lab can better identify the bones and recreate where each bone was in relation to other elements of the site. The soil itself must be studied. So our geologist studied various cores taken in sites in the area to identify where the lake boundaries were. So where was the clay? Where was the shoreline? What was the environment in which this animal died? This will help recreate the conditions of the animal's death and also the processes which might have modified the fossils afterwards. So, for example, in some layers, there is only clay, indicating that this was the bottom of a lake. But in other areas, there are the remains of shells, representing that this was shallower water. And one can identify shells by an acid test. And in soils which have the calcium carbonate of shells, one sees a bubbling occur as the acid is added. Obviously, it would be tempting to try to move faster and discover more bones, but the danger would be that some of the bones could be damaged in the process and that valuable information to understand the dig might be lost. So, for example, in the case of these ribs, they were very carefully excavated. A pedestal was formed underneath them of mud so that the entire rib was exposed before an extraction was attempted. And in the case of a rib which was broken in part due to the growth of plant roots, then it had to be removed in sections. The ribs were covered in foil and then plaster of Paris to protect them, to keep small fragments together. Otherwise, the bone might have crumbled and various pieces lost, and the life of lab workers trying to recreate this being made more difficult to see where a small fragment might have originally been located on a larger bone. So, this Mastodon dig was simply an incredible experience for all those involved to get a glimpse at the prehistoric history of the county we live in, to learn archaeological techniques. And speaking for myself, it was a pleasure to visit and to help on occasion.
Amazing thing I've ever done in my life.
Agreed.
Easily.
Really, really awesome.
Okay. Well, you guys have done a lot of great work, and we'll understand Orange County wildlife and history better because of all of you, and because of your kindness of opening this up to the class. So thank you very much.